Hola, buenos días. Es Nico.
Who's gonna get that dick? You. You gonna walk in there, you gonna say, pull down your motherfucking pants and show me what the fuck you got. Niggas ain't ready. You ready to get fucked? Fire, just like this pussy.
So today, before we get started, if you like this kind of content, make sure to follow me on Patreon at patreon.com/Nicosaesthetics. Help me keep my light bills on and help me make multiple videos a week. Now that we got that plugged, we can start on the actual story. So today, it's not actually going to be an OnlyFans tea because, you know, I do that periodically a lot. But it is going to be pertaining around kink culture within the LGBT community, more so specifically talking about cruising culture. Nico, what's cruising culture? This, when I educate you guys on this scenario, this is not from experience. I've never cruised just because I'm not like a prude. Like I said, I've talked about my sex life on Patreon. I've talked about it slightly on YouTube. You know, it's not really something that I hide. But I'm one of those people, like, I need to know who I'm having sex with. It's not like I need to know, like, your social security number or something, but I need to know you as a person. I've done hookups in the past, but it's not like I've gone strolling in, like, anybody I see can get it kind of thing. It's like, if I've hooked up with you in the past while I was single, it was more so I wanted to have sex with you in particular because usually I found you attractive. And if your personality was great, we usually became friends with benefits. But I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, whoever I find can get it. That's not personally my kink, and I'm not shaming anybody for it. Do what you do. Because essentially, cruising is kind of like hookup culture, but it adds a randomness, wacky factor to it, as in you go out, usually to a public space, be it a park, a restroom. Yeah, it's never like any like high class hotel thing or anything like that. Cruising is literally you're walking around, you see somebody that wants to nut with you, and then you get that nut. That's the best I can say it. I don't know if YouTube's gonna allow that kind of speech, but that's essentially what it is. You walk around, you're at a park, you see somebody go into some bushes, and then you guys get it on in the bushes. It can range from foreplay to actual penetration. That's cruising culture. That's cruising culture, and that can be, like I said, restroom, building, park, abandoned building. Bitches get it in where they get it in. I'm not judging you because at that point, you're not trying to get caught. You know, you're not trying, like, it's not one of those situations like where it's a public scenario where it's like they're trying to flash people. It's more so they're just getting their super happy fun time where they can, you know? So that's why I don't specifically target cruising culture when I say shit is out of line, because I'm like, at that point, I don't care because I don't have to see it. On to the actual story. Essentially, somebody was trying to cruise in a Las Vegas athletics club because the news essentially got it on the professional statement where they were essentially saying, okay, well, people were working, somebody in the locker room said, I suddenly heard gunshots and somebody screaming for help, and the alleged victim was shot in the leg, non-life threatening. But the girls, the girls are saying that this is a well-known cruising spot in Las Vegas. And as I said before, cruising, you don't necessarily know who's down. You walk around, you see if you get an interesting look, you see if somebody's tailing you towards the bushes, that kind of thing, you get it in. From what I understand, because like I said, I've never been cruising. That's one of the few things I have not done just because it's not my style. But they said that the person was trying to cruise and he got the wrong one. And I think that's the situation that we should be talking about, the specific discussion point. Cruising is dangerous just because, yeah, you can get a sexual offender charge if you're caught in public. That's one thing why I'm usually not for a public play personally. But also, you don't know who you're trying. And I understand that conversation can trickle down into, is it homophobic? But at the same time, you're exposing yourself to a complete stranger and expecting them to feed into it because this is a local cruising space. And that's what a lot of LGBT people don't understand. When it comes to cruising spaces, when it comes to hookup spots, that's known within our community. Like, if a place is known for cruising, the girls knows that it's known for cruising, but straight people usually have no idea unless you break the shit down to them. So if a heterosexual man is going to the gym and he's trying to piss and you just spread your hole, personally, I would probably fight you too. I would probably fight you too, just because that is such a bizarre thing to see. I wouldn't shoot somebody. I mean, I don't own a gun, but I wouldn't shoot somebody if they propositioned me like that. I'd probably fight them or run away screaming, just personally me, because it's just overwhelming. So, I mean, in this scenario, the girl said that someone tried to cruise and they got the wrong one and he got shot. So, I mean, at that point, I do not hold the person that shot him in the leg responsible, just because you do not expose yourself, you do not masturbate in front of somebody, you do not try to spread your hole to get some dick, from a complete stranger when they are not initiating it. That's the thing. The risky part of cruising culture is the anonymity, as in the randomness of you don't know if this person is actually trying to cruise with you or they have to take a piss in the restroom. So it's just an up in the air scenario that I thought we should have a discussion on. Do you believe that cruising culture leaves room for error in situations like these? Because like I said, obviously if you're caught in a public scenario, you're going to be registered as a sex offender. So there's already that well-known risk that we've discussed in our previous public OnlyFans content. But now it's a situation of violence, because if you proposition yourself to the wrong person, whether they have a weapon or they're just on edge, they will probably react in the same violent tone. So it's the discussion I want to bring up, because in cruising culture, the person didn't necessarily do anything wrong. But in common sense land, it's like you either tried to reach for somebody, you tried to expose yourself, etc. If this is the scenario that actually played down. Because like I said, it's what the girls are saying, so I'm talking about the scenario in general. Cruising culture, in my opinion, yes, it was more integral to our community back when we could not publicly navigate these spaces and we had to do things in secret and we had to move around behind buildings, parks, etc. But nowadays it's not a necessity, especially since we have technology. And y'all know I've already said that, the apps aren't necessarily safe, because like we've seen, there have been robberies, there have been attacks because of sexualities from the apps. But it still adds a layer of protection rather than just wandering around searching for some peen from someone you don't know if they're going to reciprocate or not. So definitely drop your opinions down below. Do you believe cruising culture is more dangerous than, let's say, hookup culture? Do you believe that these sexual acts should be navigated through virtual spaces to vet out your partners? Do you believe that we should be able to take that risk because it is integral to our culture within our past? But now that things are transitioning into a more digital age and we have more access, I personally don't think cruising is necessary. Am I saying you can't do it? No. Am I saying you should be careful because you don't want to end up on a special list? Yes. Before anyone starts, because it's like anytime I say we should take certain situations with caution, y'all think I'm shaming. Girl, I don't care if you're getting bust down in a bush. I really do not. That's the thing. If you're not purposely trying to flash somebody, if you're not purposely trying to hurt somebody, I don't care what you be doing in your privacy, because at the end of the day, you're two consenting adults. But there are certain safety measures that we should be taking. Like in this scenario, cruising in general, I mean, going into the wilderness with a stranger to get smashed, that's dangerous. But going into a building filled with people that may or may not be participating is also dangerous if you're trying to proposition yourself, So definitely drop your opinions down below. Boop.
And once again, a quick thank you to all my patrons on Patreon, and a quick shout out to my third eye tier patrons. Your support means everything to me and helps me do this a lot more smoothly. I will also be listing this week's live stream topic in case anybody wants to join in on the fun. I will see you guys there.